So welcome to Movie.Cast. This is a podcast where we talk all about films. Hi everybody, I'm Mike. This is my co-host and good friend Amber.
Hello.
Hello. How are you today, Amber?
I'm alright.
Alright, good. Ready to talk some movies today?
Yes.
This past weekend, the latest Jason Bourne movie was released out in theaters, and it's actually called Jason Bourne instead of Born Again or Reborn or The
reborn.
Bourne something.
Let's get reborn.
Let's get reborn.
Let's get reborn.
So, I saw it. You have not.
No, I have not.
Yes, but that's okay. You
It's
don't.
all right.
Yeah, you don't.
I mean,
care.
I've seen all of the Bourne movies.
Including Legacy.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
okay.
I've seen them all.
Okay. Well, good.
Yeah.
Good. And so have I, including Legacy.
I liked the Ultimatum one.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's what one of the things I was going to get to in my review. I love Ultimatum.
I know I liked it. I can't remember what happened. I'm pretty sure there was like a room and a guy in a chair, maybe.
Well, and that's what I will explain to everybody.
I think.
There was. Yeah, I think you're thinking of when he was taken into the program.
Something, he found out who he was, and there's guns, and he's running around. It was just like, all right.
You're basically describing all of the Bourne films.
Yeah, but this one, like, he was ready.
Yes.
I don't know what that means.
He was ready.
He was ready.
He was ready.
He's
this
like,
time.
I know who I am. That was like the trailer. I know who I am, and I was like, all right, you're Jason Bourne. That's what all the movies were called.
Yes.
Right?
So if that's okay, since I have seen it, I'm going to take the first crack at reviewing it.
Well, you're the only crack.
The only crack
really?
at reviewing it for today. So this is how we do it. We like to start off spoiler-free. So initially, I'm just going to talk in general terms and let you guys know whether or not I think you should go see it. And then after that, you're going to hear the Wilhelm scream. And when you hear that scream, and we'll also put up something on the screen for the video, you can watch it or listen at your own risk following that, because at that point it will be spoiler territory. But like I said, we'll start off spoiler-free. Jason Bourne is unfortunately not one of the best films in this series. And as we were just alluding to, the Bourne Ultimatum is, in my opinion, the pinnacle of this series. And unfortunately, this film doesn't even come close to matching Ultimatum. All these films, the Bourne Identity, Bourne Supremacy, and Bourne Ultimatum, all have a certain pattern, okay? I mean, it's always going to start off with Bourne is like, in hiding, or like, he's kind of out of play at first.
He doesn't know who he is.
Yeah, he doesn't know who he is, and he's kind of out of play at first. And then he pops up on the radar, and then we're introduced to the grumpy CIA, old guy.
Or the lady.
The white old guy.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, in this one.
There's always, the bad guys are always grumpy white dudes.
Yeah.
And then the lady is generally the one who will always be on Bourne's side. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much how this series goes. And then they activate an asset who's basically an assassin who's going to try to come and kill Bourne.
And then Julia Stiles is there.
And Julia Stiles is there.
She works.
Nikki Parsons was like, she works logistics for the program that Jason Bourne was created out of.
Okay.
So like basically she handled like paying the agents, telling them where to go.
She was like a secretary.
In a way, yeah. But she eventually like lands on Jason's side because there's a implication that they dated like before he
forgot.
He went on the mission and had
I don't even remember that.
Yeah. It's in Bourne Ultimatum.
That went over my head.
Yeah, it's in Bourne Ultimatum. It's really subtle.
Maybe this is what
and
he
they don't
remembers.
mention it.
No.
And that's what we'll get to in the spoiler territory. But and basically there's always a car crash, like not a car crash, car chase that's always like just awesome. Like it's hard hitting. You just feel all the impact of these
You're
cars.
Like whoa, or a foot chase.
And then there's a
chase.
fist fight, and there's always a brutal fist fight, and it worked for the first 3 movies. But now the formula has gotten stale. And this movie does check all of those boxes, including having Matt Damon back as Bourne because the Jeremy Renner project failed.
The Jeremy,
yeah. Let's just put it that way. It failed. And I'm not even considering Bourne Legacy when I'm reviewing this film. But the problem is that the story is just too generically Bourne at this point, and it's...
You're saying it's too much of a Bourne movie?
Well, no. What I'm saying is that it's become too formulaic at this point.
Yeah.
Because basically every Bourne film is about a CIA undercover black ops project that's being run by one of the CIA heads who's trying to chase down Bourne and kill him so that Bourne doesn't expose them.
Yeah.
And again, I'll get more into it later, but I just keep thinking, how do they keep developing these programs? Because they just keep getting exposed. So it's like, why would you keep developing? I don't know. But I was very disappointed by the use of Tommy Lee Jones. Not by his acting, but how he was
His character.
used. Yeah, because you know Tommy Lee Jones. You've seen The Fugitive, right? Yeah, or U.S. Marshals.
Everything is basically... What you're telling me is like, this is all like The Fugitive, but like a spy fugitive.
Well, that's what I was hoping for. That's what I was hoping for. That's what I wanted. I wanted Tommy Lee Jones to come into that, CIA control room and be like, all right, Bourne has been spotted in this square. I want eyes here, 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 here. I want every social media post up on this screen and blah, blah, blah. We got none of that. Instead, he's the grumpy old guy who makes backhanded deals and is like the guy who's trying to cover everything up, and he talks all slow and instead, the person who runs point is Alicia Vikander's character, Heather Lee, and basically they instead create this battle between Tommy Lee Jones's character, Robert Dewey, I think his name is, and Heather Lee. But when you go into it with the expectation, like the trailers made it look like it was going to be Tommy Lee Jones was going to be the one hunting down Bourne.
Yeah.
And he really wasn't. He was just kind of there watching it. He did some nefarious things, but for the most part, most of his scenes are like sitting at a computer.
He finished all of his scenes in like less than 3 days.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly. And so that was kind of disappointing. Like, all the performances were good. The action scenes were fantastic. They were great. I mean, maybe still not as good as Bourne Ultimatum, but it's kind of a letdown. It really is. If you were a Bourne fan I am,
this was your
I am
really excited because you're like one of the you're the people that are like, I want another Bourne movie, but I want Matt Damon to come back.
Right, I want Matt Damon to come back.
This is what you get.
Yeah,
this is what you get.
And it's just, it was disappointing, basically. They had so much potential to do so many more things, and they didn't. And it didn't even have, excuse me, the reason why Bourne Ultimatum is one of the best is because it does these little tricks in the movie that made it unique. Like, if you remember the sequence near the beginning of the movie, the Waterloo sequence where...
Still can't remember.
Okay, that's fine.
I just know I liked it. It's been a while.
At the beginning of Bourne Ultimatum, Bourne is in secret contact with this reporter who has stumbled upon one of the CIA's deep cover operations.
Okay, I think
and now the CIA wants to take him out, basically. And Bourne knows that this guy.
I remember that part.
I remember
him walking
through a train. The guy through the train station.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Telling him to avoid this camera, avoid that. And that was kind of cool because that was Bourne kind of flipping it. Instead of him being on the run, he's helping somebody else hide because now he's smart and he's more a veteran now. But there just wasn't that sort of trick. There wasn't that aha, gotcha moment in this movie. Like Bourne Ultimatum had a fantastic ha gotcha sucker moment in that movie. But there was just nothing in this. So staying spoiler free at this point, I say go and rent it when it comes out for rent or something, like stream it somewhere. Don't go out into the movie theater. I still think it's enjoyable. I had some fun watching it still, but overall, when you look at it, it's just like, it's too much of the same. And it's too much of the same without them changing it. Like, without them reinvigorate. They didn't reinvigorate the formula. They just copied it.
But on the other hand, there's some people that might want to go see it because they like the formula. They just want to see a Jason Bourne movie and they don't care.
And that's true, but even if that's the case, the story still is not that good. Even if that is the case, the story just isn't that great. It really isn't compared to some of the other films. I mean, you get a little bit more backstory than before. And it's really funny because the movie does actually solve one question that I had that I thought that they would focus on, and it did, without me even realizing it. Because I didn't really read anything about the movie coming up. I watched the trailers, but I didn't really
I've only seen trailers. I mean, I've seen like Matt Damon on Kimmel, but that's just them going through their couple's relationship.
Yeah, their normal shtick.
That's about it.
Yeah,
that's it. Nobody, it's not even really about the movies. It's just, he can't come on the show, but when he's on the show, it's always like him being tortured. Right, and I enjoy that. I think that's the best Matt. I mean, I don't mind Matt Damon, But
Matt Damon played, and that's another thing. Again, the performances were all really good. You know, there was nothing wrong with the acting. You know, like the level of acting was definitely there, but it just the story was just not there. And I guess that was the like overall like it didn't give me that feel of like, oh yeah, that was so cool what they did. This, you know, not like Bourne Ultimatum. Bourne Ultimatum, you left like they just put so many tricks into that movie.
Like, yeah, I mean,
and now let's go
to your
spoilers.
You're gonna spoil
Mr. Wilhelm, there he is. So just as we were saying, Bourne Ultimatum had all these tricks where like they took the ending scene from Bourne Supremacy, and because at the end of Bourne Supremacy, David or Jason Bourne is basically calling Pam Landy and he's saying like, so you're still looking for me or blah blah, and she gives him like information about like who he actually was, his real name, his real birthday, and then that's
why in the trailer for Ultimate he's like, I know who I am.
Yeah, and basically at the end of Supremacy, he basically says, you know, get some rest, Pam. You look tired, which basically points out that he was watching her. Yeah. But they took that scene and they put it in Bourne Ultimatum, but they twisted
the story.
But they twisted it because it doesn't show up. That scene doesn't show up till really late in Bourne Ultimatum because he was in New York, and in the last shot of Bourne Supremacy was Jason in New York, but then Bourne Ultimatum starts off with him in Russia, and you're just like, wait, what? He was in New York last, but he works his way all the way to the States, and they repurpose that scene, and basically that scene eventually leads to this gotcha moment where he basically got everybody in the CIA building to leave, you know, and then he snuck into the building, and the person whose office he broke into, he called from that guy's office. Because he was the one who got duped. You know, so it's like that was one of those tricks that they used to have that aha moment. There was none of that in this movie. And that's what was disappointing. It just felt like we were going from one plot point to the next, and it just like there was no real smooth connection, and the pacing was all weird. Ultimatum was fast. Everything was just
Ultimatum,
boom,
like, you know,
boom,
it's
boom.
a thriller. It's an action thriller, and that's what I liked about that. And some of the other two Bourne movies, but Ultimatum was just like, okay, what's going on?
Bourne.
This is, and it was, you know what? Some spy movies with like political stuff in there, it can be a little bit hard to follow sometimes because they're, you know, it's supposed to put you where you're like, oh, this one's backstabbing this, and they're trying to get this and that, and whatever, but. Ultimatum, you know, at least with the Bourne series, you know, like his main thing is like, who am I? What have I done? I know I'm this, but why am I like this? What's going on? And the underbelly of like the corp or the agency that he works for. But Ultimatum really was just like, it was kind of simple and you were able to follow it. It was on the edge of your seat. There was a lot of action. The storyline was good. But it was a good where it was like it didn't have to over-explain stuff to you that you got confused. It was just simple, and you got there. And it would have been fine if they ended it, which they kind of, in a way, for a couple of years.
They did.
Matt Damon's like, no, I'm done. This is it.
Yeah, they could have left it alone. And that's another disappointing thing is that we really didn't need this movie to explain
And that's
anything,
why they had the Jeremy Renner one, because all the people were like, oh, we want another Bourne movie. But they're like, well, if you see Ultimatum, it's kind of like he's done. So to bring it back, maybe that's why, is because there's nothing to continue that story with.
And that's the thing, because I had just rewatched that trilogy the week leading up to this.
You didn't watch Legacy?
No, I did not watch Legacy. Like I said, I am discounting Legacy. Legacy does not count in my opinion. It's like the Matrix sequels. They just don't exist. And that's the thing. At the end of Ultimatum, you realize, you know, all this sort of stuff. You get it that he volunteered. He didn't, you know, he wasn't picked. He chose to come join and all that.
Yeah.
And what I was saying earlier, what I kind of thought of leading up to this movie, like what they could be focusing about in this movie, is why he volunteered. And that's what this movie does answer. And
like his backstory, like before he was the spy, what got him to the point where
and it
he's
involves
like,
his dad, like his, and again, this is spoilers.
Boo-hoo story, Daddy doesn't love me.
Well, no, his dad is killed.
Or Daddy died.
And basically that, like, I guess convinces him to join this program.
It's like, my dad died. I should go and become like a secret spy.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Well, you know, trying to protect his country.
I mean, I've seen that where it's like, my dad was in the military and he died. I'm going to go in and follow in his footsteps.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
And that's what's kind of disappointing, because you didn't really need that explained. We didn't really need the why he volunteered explained, even though I kind of theorized, and I ended up being right, that is what they would focus on. But we really didn't need that. I didn't need this little bit of detail.
Spoiler, did he remember that, or did he have to go back and remember?
He had to dig through it.
So he just got to the point where I know what my name is, and then I signed up for this, but I don't know any of my backstory. I don't know when I was born. I don't know who my parents are.
Well, he knows his birth date, and he knew his name. And then in this movie, what happens is that there are more CIA undercover programs. Bourne is like working in like Greece or something. I don't know, like. He's in a fist fight, like
in that trailer.
Yeah, like when he knocks the dude out. By the way, which totally sucks, by the way, because they went with a different shot that they used in the trailer, and it was the worst shot they could have possibly done, because the shot in the trailer showed Matt Damon's face, like the over the shoulder from the other dude.
Yeah.
So you see Matt Damon over that other dude's shoulder, and Matt Damon just comes up and punches him. But for whatever reason, in the actual movie, they flipped it. And so they show Matt Damon knocking the guy out from his shoulder, from like behind this shoulder, but then you don't really feel the impact of the punch because you don't really see it. And yet in that shot you saw it more. So I was like, why did they make that choice to not use that shot? Maybe there was something technical.
Maybe
with it
wasn't Matt Damon didn't want to take a punch.
No, I don't know, because it's the other guy taking the punch.
Right?
So it's like,
was it Matt Damon's then back that you were looking at? Maybe it was somebody else's.
I guess, but then why would they have the one cool shot for the trailer and then not use it in the movie?
Why did they cut all that stuff out of Batman versus Superman that made it make sense?
Right, exactly. So
why? I don't know.
Yeah, and so it's just like it's stupid things like that, and then like the story has an issue of this wasn't really Bourne's problem, this movie, until it was made his problem.
Yeah, he was just walking, and they're like, you know what?
Yeah, like he was kind of on his own. Like,
you know whose problem this is? Is that Jason Bourne guy's problem? Matt Damon.
And then Alicia Vikander's character, she starts off really good, her character, because she seems to actually want to know Bourne and know why he's doing it instead of the Tommy Lee Jones's character just wants to kill him.
We should kill him.
Yeah, exactly. And which is fine. And then she gets more involved in helping Bourne. But then at the end of the movie, she completely flip-flops and goes back to the beginning of the movie where it's like, oh, well, I'll either convince him to join us or I'll have to put him down. So it's just like, come on, guys.
Why you don't trust robots. And when I say robots, I mean Ex Machina.
Oh, yeah.
Because she is the robot.
Yes, from Ex Machina.
And you can't trust her.
Yeah, that would make sense, right?
You can't trust her.
She got a job as a CIA agent after that movie.
You can't trust her because she will just turn her back on you and stab you and then walk off.
Yes.
Everything she's wearing is not real. That hair is fake.
So I mean,
watch Ex Machina, then you'll and then watch it. And
that was
a better.
No. The Ex Machina was better than this movie. So again, if you're a fan of the Bourne series, like I am, I'm a big fan of the series.
Except Legacy.
Except Legacy, because Legacy sucked. But Bourne Ultimatum is still the pinnacle of this series. Like, if you ever want to get somebody to be interested in a Bourne movie, just watch Ultimatum.
You have to watch the first movie. And the
kind of.
You kind of have.
Kind of.
But the thing is, Bourne, what is the Bourne Identity, and then the Bourne Supremacy, and then the Bourne Ultimatum.
Ultimatum, yes.
Like, those aren't bad movies, though.
No, they're not.
So,
no, and that's what I'm saying. They're not. But Bourne Identity and Supremacy just have an issue with pacing.
Yeah.
Whereas Bourne Ultimatum kind of cut through that and just said, you know what, we're going to go as quick as we can.
There's characters and stuff that you
to
get it. So, but it's fine because it gets better. It gets better.
Right, it does. But I'm just saying, it's disappointing because it's just that feeling of you're never going to get a movie as good, one of these movies as good as Bourne Ultimatum was. You know what I mean? I thought that was the best movie in the trilogy, and I think it's the best movie of the entire franchise, and I don't think it'll get any better. We've had 2 films since, and both have been not great. So I'm just saying, if you're a Bourne fan like me, you're probably going to be disappointed. Thank you for watching this highlight clip from Movie.Cast. If you'd like to listen to our full audio podcast, you can click the link and go to SoundCloud. Or if you'd like to subscribe to our channel, we post new highlight clips every Friday. And if you liked our video, then please help us out. We are a young podcast, so we're trying to gain some traction. If you could help us out by spreading us around, telling your friends, that would be awesome.